Music Production.
Alrighty, what is poppin'? So I'm breaking down this AI stock, right? We're gonna zoom into the daily time frame, look at the weekly time frame, kind of get some ideas of what's going on. So I posted a video on this. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but it was, is this stock gonna go up 300% in the next year type of clickbaity title or whatever. And the reason, well, I won't get into the reasons because I explained in that video, but I'm going to break down the positive price action that I think I see in this stock. So right off the bat, we're going to zoom out to the weekly, right? We're going to look at this from a when it IPO'd, which was December 2020. And it made up these highs at around $184 a share. And then, of course, massive downtrend over the past, we'll say, few years, right? Maybe a year and a bit, year and a half plus, on all tech stocks, really. Like you look at ARK, you look at Tesla, you look at any tech stock, really. Apple, like they haven't made higher highs in months, right? Like a long while. So first and foremost, and it might not be obvious to some, right? Because of course, right? Can the stock go down another 50%? Well, yes, of course it can. There's a risk to any investment, of course. But when we're thinking of the risk to reward opportunity, it's obviously better down here than it was even 3-6 months ago, right? So that's first and foremost something positive that I see. Now, we're going to use one major tool. We'll use the Fibonacci retracement, and all this is doing really is giving us an idea of where is the mean of this price, of where it's been to where it is now, right? So the mean is around this 0.5 here, around $98. Is it going to get up there, right? We don't know. So first thing I'm going to point out is that 0.5 is around $98. I'm going to be a little bit more generous. I'm going to point out this major resistance zone, which is around 75 bucks. So we'll point out this line right here. And why I think this is resistance is because it spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, around 10 weeks unable to break up above this zone, right? If you look here, the week of June 1st, 2021, we have this large wick rejecting that price, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major candlesticks that have rejected this zone. So I'm going to point that out because that is a price where if we do get back up to that area, there will almost guaranteed be some sort of resistance there, right? So again, this is the weekly time frame. We've come down, and now I'm going to mark it from right about, we'll say right here, right? So February 2022. This area right around here is where we've seen some sort of sideways action. We can't break above, and we haven't really been able to break below these levels. So this is sideways in my opinion since around February. So we've had February, March, April, May, June, 6 months, right? Half a year going sideways here on AI. Now, why I think we're starting to see some accumulation is because, one, large volume at a low range. Two, we're starting to see interesting candlestick patterns, right? We have the bullish engulfing here, another bullish engulfing, a nice hammer wick. We're creating higher lows. You're starting to see more bullish candlesticks, right? The hammers are starting to show up, which is a rejection of lower prices. Same with the bullish engulfing. That's indicating that the buyers are trying to outpace the buyers are trying to outpace the sellers, right? The bulls are trying to outpace the bears in this range. So we'll zoom into the daily time frame, and we have that range here. We could now pull it down a little bit further, right around here, we'll say. And that's around $21.15 where we have this resistance that we've come up to. We could even pull it down a little bit more. There's perfect, right? $20.87. This range we've come up to just in the past since April, once, twice, 3 times. We're here now for the 4th time. And what I want to point out that's interesting is we're creating higher highs and higher lows into there. the highest high being this resistance, and every time we come down, we're creating those higher lows, right? So price is getting lifted higher, right? So that is a sign of accumulation. Another thing we want to point out here is the volume coming in on these ranges, right? Nice upticks in volume, right? June 2nd here, 2022, which is exactly 1 year ago from where it was at that that around that $100 price, right? Right around here, June 2nd was the last time we ever were that high, right? So when we fast forward 1 year later, June 2nd, we're starting to see massive volume coming in at this low range. And it's the highest amount of volume ever to be printed in this stock. So I think that's pretty notable just to point out, right? We have these higher highs being made and another uptick in volume here on today, which is July 20th. And I think it's, we're starting to see a correlation with the overall market starting to, we're getting a nice little bounce, a cute little bounce off the bottom. So I'm going to point out QQQ real quick. And it's a pretty similar pattern here, right? So we have this previous monthly resistance back in June. And what we're seeing here is some ascending triangle where we have this resistance and we're starting to break out above. So what I'm thinking is this AI stock is like a lagging version of that QQQ play, where here is that monthly resistance that we might want to hit right around this level here. And the price might take us up to that level. As you've seen on QQQ, we had that push up above the current resistance that we're at. So I'm thinking this stock might want to follow being in the tech sector. So I think there's a trade here involved. We have, right, this resistance point, you buy above, or you could even, today would have been a pretty cute day to buy. But I think we're going to get that push up above, and how we react in this range, and I'll drag this out a little bit further to continue it. But what happens after we push up, and if we get into that range, is we want to see something similar where we stay close to that resistance. Like say we come up something like this. We want to stay in this range, right? And get closer and closer and have that continue again. Is this going to happen? Right? Nothing's a guarantee. Anything could turn around and kind of scare people out of the markets or cause a lot of price to go lower due to fear, all the recession talks, all that shit, right? But overall, the time could be now for a nice little trade and maybe potentially for a longer term position if we are supposed to get back to somewhere in that mean area of where the stock's price has been. So that's the breakdown here on AI. Peace.